All right. Good morning, my friends. How we doing? Welcome back. Good morning, good morning. Thursday, June 8th. God, this year's going fast, man. June 8th already. Crazy. I've been in Miami for 6 months already. It's crazy. Morning. It's like, how do you move somewhere? I thought I'd move here for like a year. It's like, how do you move somewhere for a year? It's so short, it seems like. It feels like I haven't even done everything that needed to be done. Morning to Shumby. What's going on, brother? Yes, summertime. Summertime. Dun, 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 dun. Morning. There's a big level today, Sean, for sure. There's a big level. If we drop this 420 426 level, then yeah, there could definitely be a nice little drop, but that's the level we talked about yesterday. Big level. So we'll definitely take a look at it, Sean. Definitely something to watch. Michael, thank you, man. $10 donation. New donation. It's from Dr. Disrespect Stream. I think about that all the time. Thanks, Michael. Appreciate that. Do I use flow algo? No, I don't use the flow. There, you can probably catch some. You could definitely catch some sneaky things on the flow, but traditionally, I just stick to the strategy that I trade. Some volume, open interest option chain. Nelson, yeah, I mean, you definitely don't want to pick one that has no open interest. That's for sure. But usually the at the money contracts have good volume, good open interest. I mean, when you're playing, high liquid tech stocks, you really don't have to worry about it too much because the options chain are usually pretty liquid. So yeah, I don't think you have to worry about that too much. How much is rent for a decent place in Miami? I think it probably ranges anywhere from 20. I'd say 2,800 is probably like the minimum you're gonna find for a decent place. And obviously ranging up to a lot, $7,000-$10,000 a month. Those for like the big boys. Anyway, I mean it's not. If you can live, you can have a $2,800, $3,000 place here in Miami for sure, which is pretty on par with everywhere else. It's not that much different. Obviously, it's probably a smaller location, but you get to live. It's all about where you live. That's really what it comes down to. Don't move to Miami if you're not here to want to enjoy the city. The city's really the selling point. Yeah, shout out to anyone in New York, man. That looks like a disaster over there. It reminds me of like Blade Runner or Mad Max in New York. It looks bad. So hopefully everyone out in New York's doing all right. That shit looks terrible. So that's interesting. I mean, that sucks. TSM, Daniel, nice, man. TSM was great yesterday. TSM, nice little morning push. Nice little early morning push there on TSM was great. All right. Yeah, I mean, I have my house in Naples, which I pay. Yeah, I mean my house in Naples is like my. That's like, it's nice to. I don't want to. First, it's a tough time for people like 28, 27, 28 trying to buy their first home. It's a rough time, but yeah, my house in Naples, I paid $1,280 on it, $1,280 a month for a mortgage. That's like my saving grace back in Naples. Never selling that thing. All right, so good morning, everyone. Hope everyone's having a good morning. Let's get started. 8:05. Press that like button. Today, some key levels on the NASDAQ ES. Some key levels, some key demand levels that stepped up yesterday afternoon. We'll have to see if they hold today. If they do not, then I could definitely see some further downside here. There is a big gap below on ES. There's a pretty decent gap on the NASDAQ. Not a gap, but a low, pretty much a straight up move from last Friday that can definitely get sort of filled today. So definitely some interesting stuff. We'll talk about my Shopify trade. We'll talk about yesterday's price action. We'll talk all about it. And yeah, let's do it. Let's have a good day. And the fixed interest rate at what do I have? I have 3.49. So nice, not bad. All right. Today's the 8th. Futures economic earnings calendar. I think today we have jobless claims. I know I would never buy a variable rate mortgage. Hell no. Hell no. Variable rate mortgage is not good right now. So today we got jobless claims, right? So that's really the only economic thing to be paying attention to today. Jobless claims at 8:30, wholesale inventories at 10. Nothing scheduled tomorrow. So we'll see what 8:30 shows. And then next week, obviously, we talked about this. A lot of economic data next week, right? CPI, FOMC, PPI, jobless claims on Thursday. We got some retail sales Friday. So nice stuff next week. Today, jobless claims, all right? 8:30 jobless claims. We'll go back to that earnings and really nothing on the earnings side. Tesla 230, nice supply level. We talked about that one yesterday. Talked about 230 being a tough level to go long into. That was really nice. Congrats if you guys caught that one. Nvidia pulled back to that 370 demand. So this is a good watch today to see what happens here. 116 on AMD is a big one. Shopify, we'll talk about that Shopify rejection at 65. Meta 262 demand. This is a very big level. Meta was a top downside watch for me yesterday on a 269 slip. That was really nice under 269. Google 123. And then we'll talk about TSM Really interesting setup on TSM. Still looks decent after yesterday's downside, but if the market is sort of tired, then I don't know if TSM is going to have it. But some nice setups today for sure. Right, futures at some key levels, some nice technical levels on the individual stocks. So definitely some opportunity, I think, today, and I look forward to it. Right, put yesterday behind us. Right, look forward to new opportunities. That's what we have to do. That's how you continue to survive in the market. You got to continue to look for the next opportunity, and it looks like there are some today. So I'm excited to take advantage of them. So, S&P 500 futures. This is really, I talked about this move yesterday. Yesterday we talked about this being probably the best downside move, or the best trade in general, is this trade between 42.70 to 42.40. This is interesting. This area right here. Do we fill this today, right? Is this a move that we fill today? That's going to be something I definitely look out for. That is a really nice, straight up move from Friday that could absolutely present some opportunity. It's about a 30-point downside from 42.70 to 42.40. So this is definitely on watch today, right? But what do we need to get that to actually start to trade, right? I think we need to really lose this 42.70 level, right? We can see right here, the ES yesterday pushed straight up at open, which I really don't know what caused that straight up push at open. That was crazy. And it pushed right into 43.05, right? 43.05 pushed right into that double top. And this was really the beginning of the downside, right? Right as we pushed into that supply at 43.05, we pushed right into it again. Really nasty rejection there. And that was pretty much what caused the all-day sell-off. I mean, it was just a slip and slide all day yesterday. No bids, just a really clean supply rejection up there at 43.05. Right back into demand at 42.70. So today's all about this 42.70 level on the ES, right? You guys can see right here. These right here, right? And these right here. Right there. 42.70 is really going to be our major level to watch. If we get that clean slip under 42.70 and we start to hold below it, right, you have some really nice 42.40 action here, right? You do have some nice action here between 42.70 and 42.40. So that's something I would absolutely keep an eye out for today, right? Keep an eye out for that 42.70 break and hold below. If we start to get weak under that level, you might be able to catch this, aggressive downside here and retest those previous highs at 42.40. So keep an eye on that, right? That's very important. We'll see what jobless claims does, right? We'll relook at this after jobless claims to see if it influences our level here at all, our 42.70 level. But if we start to get weak under that, look for that. Is there a chance that we hold this level again today? Yeah, absolutely, right? We've held it in the past. Look at this, right? We had this very aggressive downside here on Monday of last week. What did we do the following day? We pretty much just held this level and chopped around, right? So look at the last time we had an aggressive sell-off from 43.05 to 42.70, right? It's the exact same move pretty much. Here to here, here to here, right? Identical move. So we have to be a little bit careful today, right? We have to be careful of not shorting into a move like this, right? We have to be a little bit cautious of that. This was Tuesday of this week. You can see big slip in the morning, back into that 42.70, and then a rip off that level and just pretty much a chop day at that level. So this is pretty much identical there. So we have to sort of monitor what happens at that 42.70 today. Want to be a little bit cautious before making those ultimate decisions on your trade at this demand here. I think you really want to get you really need to see some visually weak price action again under that level before going for that short, which I think is very possible, right? And a very good trade, but you have to be just a little bit cautious and be aware of what happened last Tuesday or this Tuesday, right? 2 days ago. So we're sitting right there again. That's going to be a very interesting level. If you get any type of upside today, I would look for this 42. It's anywhere between this 42.80 and like this 42.85, I would say, right? Anywhere between here, I would look for potential rejections there as well, right? If you get a little push here, I would also look to see if you reject this level as well, right? You rejected this level yesterday. You turned this level into support yesterday pre-market. This was a previous rejection here. This was a previous support here, right? So a lot of reactions at this 4280, 4285 area on the ES as well. So if you do get a push off 4270 today, be careful of being long into here, right? Be careful of being long into all these areas of interest, right? You can see support, rejections, support, rejections. What happens today, right? Watch that 4280, 4285 up above, all right? So as of right now, 4270, 4280, 4285, that's really your tight range. Do we lose this level and move into the 4240? Or do we try to reclaim this 4285 today? And, I'm not going to say that this is the most likely scenario, but knowing this market, anything is possible. Do we hold this 4280 and do we try to push up again? We'll have to see. Does jobless claims do anything to influence this? We'll see that in about 15 minutes. So that's that on the ES. Here's the SPY. And the big level on the SPY today is 426, right? 426 right here. 426, if we lose that 426, then I think you probably can catch this downside into 423. That's right here. 426, 423. If you look to the left, you can see a pretty big gap there in price action. Pretty much just a straight up move from last Friday. If you lose that 426, then I think you could definitely look for that SPY short into 423. I think that's very possible. And likely, when we zoom out, right, very likely the move that has to happen, in the way the market moves, in the waves that we get to the upside, right? The waves to the upside, we get nice push, pullbacks, push up, pullbacks, push up, right? I still think the right move is likely to retest this 423, right? And this is still not a market-breaking pullback by any means. This is still actually, right, when we zoom out and we look at the big picture here, right, a pullback to 423 does not mean that the market is tanking, right? So does that pullback present short-term opportunity? Absolutely. Does that pullback change sort of the view here on the hourly chart? Not really, right? It's not. I wouldn't say a pullback to 423 is anything market-breaking here. That's actually probably the healthy move, is a move back to 423 and then see if this holds again, right? So 423 would be my target. If you get a drop under 426 today, I think you can absolutely target this upside move from last Friday, right? I think that's a very possible trade today, and I would absolutely be eyeing that on the SPY, all right? So keep an eye on that. NASDAQ. So the NASDAQ, if we go to let's go 30-minute chart. Here's a 30-minute on NQ, all right? And you guys can see yesterday pushed into that high, rejected it. Nice supply rejection around that 14,625. Excuse me. Rejections, right? Yesterday, nice rejection. We dropped under this Friday low, had more downside. We dropped under this low here, had more downside, right? And so we're right here at this triple bottom, right? This is the triple bottom from last week, 14,250. And that is major, right? That is major stuff, right? Look at the move under 14,250, right? Look at the moves under 14,250. So this is very interesting, right? This presents a lot of opportunity on the futures, 14,250 and this 4270, right? Look at this. Look at these two moves from last Friday. And look at the opportunity that's potentially presenting itself back into 4240 and back into, right, this 13,960 area, right? A lot of juice potentially here. So definitely watching this, right? And if I zoom out, once again, the right move here, if I zoom out on the 4-hour and we sort of look at this chart and we really zoom out and get the whole picture here, let me delete these and keep the 20. Right, the right move here is probably to retest this previous breakout point, right? It's probably to come back down, right? Retest this breakout point, get back on this trend line, right? Sort of, I'm not saying that's a perfect trend line, but you get the picture, right? get back on the trend line, which is sort of how a stock market wants to move higher, instead of an acceleration to the upside. This is sort of an over exaggeration to the upside. Pull back under 14,220 or 250, come back to the trend line, come back to the 20 SMA, right? Come back to these previous highs, and then this can absolutely continue higher, right? After it comes back to the trend, comes back to the retest, comes back to the 20 SMA. So is this the right move for the market? I am still in that boat, right? I still think that is the right move back down here to 13,960. We just have to be careful of, the market playing some games here still, right? And maybe this doesn't happen until next week. Maybe this doesn't happen until 2 weeks from now. It doesn't have to happen today. So we have to be cautious of that. But ultimately, that does look like the right move for the market. Pull back to that 960, pull back to these previous highs, pull back to this trend line, pull back to the 20 SMA, right? There's a lot of confluences right here at that 13,960 area. That could be very interesting. And that could be a very nice downside, right? Under this 250, back into that 960, right? If I go to the 15-minute, right? That is a juicy downside move right here, looking at this. So watch that 14,250 on NQ. That's a big level today. You break that, watch for that downside. If you get upside off 250, watch out for these lows here, 14,370. If you get a move above 14,370, then you might even move into that 14,450 again, and then look for rejections up here next. All right? So 14,370, 14,450, 14,250. All right? Big levels here today, and keep that bigger picture in mind when you come into the day. QQQ, it looks like it's this 356, 346, 347 level, right? If we break that, let me go ahead and adjust this real quick. Put that there. What did happen? No, I don't want that. Put that there. Put that there. There we go. So on the QQQ, it looks like this 346.50 level. You break that, right? You get your pullback into the 340, 341, right? So this is your triple bottom that we just talked about on the NASDAQ, right? If you break this 346.50, then you have your move into that previous high, which is around 341, right? So 346.50 on the Qs is the same thing as the NASDAQ 14,250, right? Same exact thing. Chart looks the exact same, right? You can visually just look at the charts and compare what I'm saying, right? If I'm looking at the NASDAQ and I'm looking at a triple bottom here from Wednesday and Thursday, just go to the QQQ chart and you can clearly see the triple bottom. That is the exact same chart. That's your level, 346.50 on the QQQ, all right? So keep an eye on that. All right, so I want to go over the Russell because the Russell has outperformed, all right? And it is still outperforming, actually. And it broke above this major supply level, which is actually pretty wild. I did not expect to see the Russell outperform this much, but it still is, right? This 1875, 1880 level, look at that break above that level. That is now your new support level, right? If you pull back here, look for the Russell to actually hold this 1875 level. This is very interesting, right? So previous double bottom here on the Russell, you are above that level. So if you pull back, look for this area on the Russell to actually turn into support once again. So keep those eyes on the Russell. This is a very strong outperformance, and this all sort of led from the break of this channel high, the retest of this channel high, and the continuation off of it. So you expected it? Nice, man. I mean, what the comment, man? God. 1880. Lows, rejections, right? Break and hold above 1800, right? Nice break and retest. Very nice outperformance there on the Russell. Watch that 1880 level. If that 1880 level here, right? If we zoom in here, 1880, right? If we hold that level today, right? Look for that support to step in. That's going to be big. Keep an eye on this zone right here on the Russell. All right, next is the Dow, which also had some outperformance yesterday, and this outperformance was led by, I think, mostly Goldman Sachs, if I'm not mistaken. What did XLV do? I think XLV was okay yesterday. I know AbbVie had a nice day yesterday, but mostly Goldman Sachs with the rip JP Morgan with the rip. XLF was very strong. So you had some banks that looked to help the Dow out pretty well yesterday. That Goldman Sachs move definitely was helping the Dow. So if I go back out to the 4-hour chart, right, Dow held up pretty well. Nothing wild, but still keep an eye out for this rejection area here on the Dow. Right, just monitor these highs. Be careful of these highs up here on the Dow Jones. All right, so right around this 33.8 area, you guys can see rejections. Right, big support, big triple top rejections, and a rejection here recently. So just be careful of being long into the 33.8, 33.850 area here on the Dow. Right, just be a little bit cautious of this supply up here in the Dow. All right. All right, guys, so that's the futures. We'll relook at them shortly here after they get the jobless claims, but let's continue on with some individual stocks. So we talked about this Tesla 4-hour chart yesterday. We talked about that squeeze out of the bull flag, and then we talked about this supply at 230, 233, right? So we talked about that. We could look at this in the 15-minute, right? And you can see, right, a very nice 230 rejection, right? Very nice 230 rejection plays yesterday. Very clean. Congrats if you caught this one. Nice downside there. Right into that 230 supply. Nailed it, right? Rejected perfectly. Very, very nice clean downside. A little bit, a little bit jumpy there, but ultimately nice weakness off that 230 supply level. I would not say that this 230 supply level is causing anything that drastic unless you drop 221 on Tesla, right? I think if you stay above this double top here on Tesla, I still think that Tesla could just be consolidating here. I don't think this is a drastic downside move on Tesla yet until you lose this double top again. All right, if you lose this double top and you start to reject this double top again, then I could see this becoming like a head and shoulder formation. All right, so this could be your shoulder, your head. You need to create another right shoulder here before I would say that Tesla is very weak. So be careful of shorting Tesla here. I would look for shorts at 230. All right, if you can get a squeeze today into 230 and you start to see that same type of rejection, you could probably play that, right? I'd be safe, or I'd be comfortable playing that short up at potentially 230. I'd be careful shorting into this high and this high right here, right? So just be a little bit cautious shorting into this general area down here, this 221, 223 area. Very possible that Tesla tries to hold this double top, all right? Now, if you lose that double top, right, whole concept changes. All right, if you lose that double top, whole concept changes. You could potentially see some downside, probably even into like these lows here if you lose 222, 221, right? So if you lose that 221, I'd say you probably have room into that 213, right? That's actually a very clean chart. Hopefully you guys can sort of see what I'm looking at here, sort of get the concepts that I'm talking about. Previous highs, right? You lose that, you go back to the next level, right? The market always wants to move to the next level, right? So if you come under this, the market wants to move to the next demand, right? And the next demand is down at 213. So that's how I'd play Tesla. Be careful in the shorts unless you're under 221, and be careful of the longs into 230, all right? Nvidia. Big stuff on Nvidia today. You guys, I'm sure, all are very aware of this daily gap, right? We all are very aware of this daily gap. This is definitely something to monitor. Today, you are you're sort of at 4th and 1. Not 4th and inches yet, but you're at 4th and 5 here. So 375, 370 on Nvidia is this low here from the day after earnings. I actually remember playing an upside play off this 370. But 370, 375, guys, this is big-time stuff here on Nvidia. If you start to crack this low, right, if you start to crack this low at 370, there is nothing but gap here on Nvidia. So is it going to be that easy? That's the question. Is it going to be that easy? Because I know every single trader and their mother is looking at this potential play. Is it going to be that easy? Sometimes when it's that clear and obvious, I get a little bit cautious of of how how fluid that move's going to be. We'll see, right? We shall see. I don't know. Is the 200 at? Oh shit. Good call. I probably should have that 200 on my chart. It's not there, is it? Where? No. 200 SMA ain't there. On the 1 hour? Oh, but yeah, that's different though. That's not the daily SMA. Is there any SMAs there? I only trust the daily SMAs. I don't really look at the SMAs on the 1 hour. Nah, the 20 is all the way down here. But either way, is it going to be that easy? We'll see. But watch 370, 375. If you do really lose, so here's what I would look for, right? If this NASDAQ starts to drop into this zone, right? If the NASDAQ starts to drop into this zone, right? If the NASDAQ today or anytime in the next few days starts to drop 14,250, that is when I would immediately switch to your Nvidia chart and see if you can catch this move, right? I would immediately look to see, is Nvidia under 370 if the NASDAQ is starting to very aggressively slip into this gap here. All right, that's how I would play that. So keep an eye on that NQ. If the NQ is under 14,250, see if Nvidia is starting to lose strength under that 370. That might be your shot to take it. All right, so keep an eye on that. But also, right, don't lose sight of the potential demand that can still step up here. Right, don't get too googly-eyed here on this gap in case this sort of just wants to mess around, right, for a few more days. All right, if you take that short and Nvidia just fucks around here for a few more days and then maybe next week or 2 weeks it drops, then, that's very possible. It's very possible that Nvidia just sort of screws around here in this channel for more time. So keep that in mind as well, right? Be open to that possibility. AMD. Actually, you know what? Let's go jobless claims. Let's go see what the let's go NASDAQ because I think the NASDAQ is really important here, actually. So let's see what the NASDAQ does here on jobless claims. All right. Cheers. What do I eat for breakfast? I don't eat breakfast before the stream. I eat breakfast at like 11:30 after I stop trading, 12 o'clock. Data in 10 minutes? Yeah, it's actually in 10 seconds. There it is. Nothing much yet. This is the hourly chart. All right, not much of a reaction. Not yet, at least. What's the numbers? 261 versus 235, huh? A lot more jobless claims. Interesting. We'll see how the market takes that. 261 versus 235 jobless claims. Market as of right now is just sort of maintaining. A little bit of upside. Yeah, a little bit of upside there. Wouldn't that be something? So yeah, let's see. A little bit of upside. We'll see how the market takes that. But higher than expected jobless claims 6 months ago, I would say that's bullish. That's I don't know how bullish that is anymore. I don't know how the market takes jobless claims these days. About 3 months ago, when all the talk was what are the jobless claims, that's a bullish number because more jobless claims means the jobs market slowing down. Meaning, don't take this for word what I'm saying, but this is the mindset of typically how you think about it, right? I'm not saying this is good or right, anything like that. Less people working, weaker jobs market. Fed doesn't have to hike rates as much. Fed's doing their job. Federal Reserve doesn't need to get more aggressive, right? That's the gist of how I understand it, how the market reacts to it at least. So I think that's why you're seeing this move, right? A weaker jobs market is pretty much the goal of the as the Fed has said, their goal is to slow the jobs market. Jobs market's still too strong, blah, blah, blah. That's sort of a sign that the jobs market may be slowing down. That's why maybe you're seeing a little bit of an upside move there. All right, so there you go. There's a little explanation from someone that doesn't really care about anything besides trading technicals. That's pretty much your explanation from me. Josh from Stock Market Live can give you a better explanation. Shout out to the cult. All right, so let's go to AMD. AMD. So AMD looks very similar to Nvidia in the sense that it's sitting at a major level, right? So here's AMD, right? You guys can see we're sitting right at that 116, right? So 116 is the previous demand that I played longs off of back here on Monday of this week, right? We played longs here on Monday this week. Wish I held those, but a nice 116 demand here at 116. Now we're back at that level, right? We're back at that level, 116, 116, and we're sort of flatlining around that 116, 117. All right, so something to watch today, right? Because if you drop this 116 and you stay below it, right, this is very similar to Nvidia. This is a move higher on Nvidia's earnings, right? So if you start to drop this 116, you could possibly play that level, right? If we go to the daily chart, right, look at this gap here on AMD. This gap is probably easier to trade than Nvidia because this gap is only up because of a different stock, right? This gap is up because of someone else's stock, right? This is up because of Nvidia, not because AMD in specific. So does that gap close cleaner and easier? Maybe, because this move was sort of just market related. It wasn't really anything to do with AMD in general. It's just off of Nvidia's earnings. So that is something I keep in mind, right? So 116, if we drop that, 110 is probably your target. This could be a nice gap to play here from that daily chart. Keep an eye on that. However, right, same concept applies. Be careful getting in too early in case AMD just sort of F's around here at this 116, right? If you get in too early and you're going for that gap fill and AMD does this until the end of the week, right, then you're just going to lose on that play. So wait for that confirmation. Look for that 116 to drop. If you drop that 116, I think you got some juice there. I'd keep an eye on that. All right, let's talk into Shopify. So as you guys know, I had a Shopify swing trade. I still have part of it, right? I took some off yesterday. I had Shopify swing trade that I was up a really nice amount, and I had a plan, right? I had a plan to go for this weekly chart breakout on the 70. I was looking for this weekly chart breakout into 70, 78, 80, right? That was sort of my eye. That's what I was looking at. Now, the first thing that went wrong for me on this trade, or at least what I admit that I did wrong, was I did not take enough weight into the ES and NQ supplies, right? I did not put enough weight into that ES and NQ supply. Now, why do I think, and I think I'm going to make a video about this because I'm not upset about this trade in the slightest, right? I know a lot of people probably want me to be all sad and they're happy to see me lose my money, but I'm actually not upset about this trade in the slightest. I've had a great year, and to give up some profits, it is what it is. I saw outperformance on Shop without the NASDAQ, without the ES days prior, right? Like on Tuesday, the ES and NQ barely moved, right? So this was Tuesday, right? And that was the NASDAQ. And Shopify on Tuesday was vertical, right? So I said, all right, I like Shopify's movement without the NASDAQ. So I think that caused me to put a little bit less weight on what the NASDAQ in specific was doing, and sort of trust that Shopify would outperform because of what I've seen recently. Now, yesterday, I think I just got a little bit too comfortable in the trade and thought that, okay, yes, ES is supply. It's a rejecting supply, but I like that Shopify could maintain itself. I'm still comfortable holding this. And pretty much the entire day, I was looking for, okay, ES is still at this level, right? Could hold. And I just sort of let it slip. I was too comfortable in the trade. I wasn't that concerned about the money, right? I know everyone's focusing on the money part of it, right? Most people that are paying attention to the trades that I take are focused very heavily on the money that I'm making, the money that I'm losing, because that's just how humans are. I was very focused on the trade and the trade setup, and I wasn't focusing on my P&L. And yeah, that's what happens. So I got caught in this rejection play. 65 was a nasty rejection. All right, if we go to the 4-hour chart, you guys can see a nasty day for Shopify. You pushed really nicely. I guess you could say that I was a little bit hopeful that this would break out at 65.50, right? I was a little bit hopeful that we would get that breakout of this high and start to push towards my target after we had that really nice bull flag breakout. I thought this was really gaining strength, right? Really nice volume yesterday or Tuesday as well. So it gave me a lot of confidence that we would try to break that high. But market said, hell no. Market slapped me in the face, gave me a little reality check, and said, you ain't going through this supply level. We're rejecting that level. So, yeah, great setup. Very happy with the trade. I would take this trade 1,000 times again. But the supply just got me, right? The supply got me, and it is what it is, right? That's trading. If you come here and you pretend like you've never done this, if you come here and say something stupid like you're the best trader in the world, then I know you're not a real trader, right? I know anyone that understands what happened to me yesterday, that's happened to them before, then I know you've been in the trenches. I know you've worked your ass off. I know you've traded, and you're probably learning a lot from your trades. Anyone that comes here and says some stupid shit, I just know that you're not a trader, right? It just instantly. It's like you're just basically exposing yourself by saying something stupid like that. I'm okay to talk about this because I'm comfortable sharing when I mess up. That's trading, right? It's trading. You can't hide this type of stuff. You just can't, because everyone knows it happens, right? Anyone that hides this type of stuff is clearly not trading real money, is clearly not trading real trades. This happens to everyone, right? The best traders out there will get stuck in these types of moves, and my job is to be honest and to share with you what went wrong. So there you go, right? That's what happened to me. I didn't lose money, so that's good, right? I just gave back a pretty healthy chunk of profits. So it is what it is, right? It is what it is. Yeah, why didn't I scale out? It's a good question, man. It really is. I really couldn't give you the right answer to that. It was almost like an overconfidence in the play. I really don't. It's that mental, man. It's the mental. It was tough. I really continued to believe in the play, and it just slipped away. I think maybe it's just because I wasn't scared to give back the money. I think maybe I was too comfortable giving back the money because I don't really. I'm in a comfortable trade, right? Yeah, it's $10,000, a lot of money, but I was comfortable in the trade. I was very comfortable, and maybe I was too comfortable, right? Maybe I was too comfortable. That could have been it. Tequila shot on me. Thanks, God, Andre. Appreciate that, man. I'll definitely use that. I could use a tequila shot after yesterday. So, yeah, that's my trade on Shop. Gave back my profits, pretty much all of it. I think I walked away on this week's with like a $500 profit. So, hey, can I still walk away and say it was a profitable trade? Yeah, I guess so. It was still a profitable trade, but hey, it gave back a decent chunk. So today, watch 60 on Shop. That's going to be big. Keep an eye on that 60. I am still holding my next week contracts. I'm not that concerned about those, but we'll see what 60 does, right? Watch 60 today on Shop. All right? So, yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Nailed the entry, absolutely. Nailed the entry, absolutely. So, Meta. Big level today, Meta. Keep an eye on this. You guys can see it right here. 30-minute chart on Meta. You can see this 262, right? 262. Right here, you can see that little previous low, previous low, previous low. And we're sitting right there again. So this is a big one today. Yesterday, we talked about Meta being the top downside watch if we are to drop 269. And this was very nice, right? If you guys caught this one yesterday, this was sexy. A little upset I missed this one. Really nice 269 drop. And after breaking under that 269, it was just unable to get back above and just slid. Look at this slide, man. That is a systematic slide. All right. Chef, you crushed, brother. Thanks, Info Profits. We appreciate your analysis every damn day. Cooking lessons soon for other. I appreciate that, Chef. Thank you, man. Appreciate that. I'm sorry I didn't get to see you in Jersey, man. It's hard when friends are around. I really do apologize for that, but hopefully soon. I'll shoot you the date for the Miami thing, Chef. That's I'm gonna keep everyone updated. So 262 on Meta here, guys. Big level today, right? You can see these previous demand lows. You can see these demand lows here, right? Keep an eye on that 262 area. That's very big. If you drop that 262, right, keep an eye on that move into 255, right? 255, is a big level. So watch this 262 today, previous demand. You guys can see under 262. Look at what the price action is showing, right? Very straight upside, which could mean very ugly downside, right? So straight up could mean straight down, right? So watch that 262 today. If we hold that demand on a strong NASDAQ, right, you might even try to retest this 269, and maybe you can play that rejection up here, right? So if you do hold this 262, this could be a long, right, off this demand, targeting this high again right here, and that could be your next short at 269. So just watch this 262 today on Meta. That's a big level, and if you break that, you could target that downside. Google. So Google's at a major level as well, right? A lot of stocks at major levels today after that downside. Look at Google here, 123, right? Look at this level on 123. Previous lows, right? This would click, damn, previous lows, 123, and look at right where we are today. 123 and the 20 SMA actually, right? That 20 SMA is sitting right under it. So we got to stay open to both sides, right? We've seen this before. We have seen the aggressive downside get bought up, and we can't act like it's not something we've seen before, right? Look at this downside on Google. It is literally vertically down. And what happened the remainder of the next week, right? This is Tuesday. After Tuesday, we literally flatlined and moved higher, right? And this is the same thing. Crazy downside right into that level again. Does that mean that we're going to drop this demand? No, it doesn't. It does not. It does not mean that we're going to drop this demand. So we have to be aware of that as traders. I'm not saying you're playing long here. I'm not saying you should go long here. I'm just saying you need to get those clues from what we've seen before, right? Just because with the aggression of this downside, that does not mean that it's going to drop this demand, right? We have seen aggressive downside get bid back up. We have seen aggressive downside get bid back up. Maybe today's different, right? Maybe this drop is different, but we have to just sort of use those context clues. Be careful of shorting into this 123, right? Demand is definitely there. Does it reload, right? Maybe, Josh. Yeah, maybe it does, right? You got the 20 SMA there. You got demand there. It's a very possible move. So keep an eye on that Google 123. It's obviously going to depend on what the NASDAQ does today. But Google 123, I would say watch that level. Could be interesting. All right, TSM. So TSM, it pulled back off that 102 area. I'm still watching this play, right? I'm not totally convinced that this play is over yet. It is still holding a nice demand, right? You can see down here, 97, 98. Demand still stepping in. So you can see demand, right? Possibly there's some demand that steps in today. This whole 98 level is very interesting, right? And if we go to the 4-hour chart, we can see that 98 is a previous triple top high. So yeah, a little bit of downside yesterday. Did it break anything? No, it did absolutely not, right? It did not break any levels, right? This play is still very valid. It may take longer than originally expected because you can see, look at that, right? It tried to get above that flag and it came right back within, right? Look at that attempt to break the flag, which sold right back within. So does TSM maybe do another one of these, right? And then ultimately play it out? We'll have to see what the market does, right? Ultimately, that will depend on the NASDAQ to see if those semis stay strong. But is that play dead? Hell no, it's not dead. Did it sort of did you get faked out yesterday? Did I get faked out a little bit yesterday? Yeah, I did. But is the play dead? No. I still believe in this 4-hour chart here. So I will still continue to watch this here to see if 98 holds on TSM, right? 4-hour bull flag. We've seen this play out. Depending on the market, right? If the market's strong, then maybe it continues. If the market's weak, then maybe it dies off. But we'll see this 98 level is big. All right. All right. That's going to be it. Let's take a quick look at the futures. Another quick look, right? You can see on the futures right now, the demand is definitely there, right? Don't disrespect the demand, but also don't disrespect the supplies above. Right, supplies above 14,370, 14,450, right? A couple supplies to watch out for above, but make sure you pay attention to this demand below. If you are short, right? If you're short, watch out for this 14,250. Watch out for this 14,250 that held this morning after jobless claims. ES, right? Same exact concept. If we go to the 15-minute, you guys can see we are still holding this 42.70 demand. Watch out for that 42.80, 42.85. And then if we get above that, of course, that nasty double top at 4,300. All right. I'll go to the SPY one more time. SPY, you can't short SPY at 426. I don't think you want to get short in your 426 today. The best short possible is a break under 426 and a rejection play into this gap, right? The best short possible on the NASDAQ is a drop under 14,250, right? And a juicy downside into 13,960. That's the best short, all right? So if you want to look short, if you're trying to nail a short, watch these lows. If you move under that, that could be nice, right? All right, guys. If you guys appreciated the honesty, as always, you're going to expect that with me. I'm not going to hide jack shit, right? There's just no reason. Why hide something? It's like it's a burden on yourself. So I'm very open. Shopify sucks. It happens. Every trader is going to go through it. But it's still a fantastic year, a fantastic month. Would have been real juicy month if I was able to lock in that profit. That would have been probably one of my best months ever. But hey, it is what it is. Sometimes the market humbles you. It slaps you in the face. What are you going to do? Are you going to sort of sit here and sulk and wish that you quit and that you suck and that I quit, I can't trade? No, you're going to forget about it. You're going to continue to trade the strategy that got you that trade in the first place, right? How did I find that Shopify swing trade? Because I'm teaching myself, right? Because I'm sticking to my strategy, right? How did I find that trade in the first place? How did you find that setup in the first place, right? You educated yourself. That's what you continue to do no matter what happens. If you guys enjoy the live stream, let's get 1,000 likes on this live stream. I'd really appreciate that. I could really use it. I could really use it after yesterday. I could use a tequila shot. I could use some likes. I could use a lot of other things that I can't mention on the stream. Thank you guys so much. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace out.